Hi, I'm Dr. Bill McGraw, and welcome to Spooky2 training seminar. For this seminar, we're going to be looking at anti-aging programs and the machines for Spooky2 that we use to reverse the aging process, as well as eliminate symptoms of aging. So for this seminar, we're going to be talking about, once again, Spooky2 Remote, which is this machine right here. This is a frequency generator. This part here is a booster, which boosts the amplitude or the strength of the frequency. And then there's another attachment that we use, which holds a fingernail DNA sample, which lasts 30 days. And these are two magnets that transfer the frequency to the fingernail or the DNA sample. And the other piece of equipment that we're going to be talking about is Spooky2 Scalar. And these are two black boxes that produce a scalar field. And scalar energy, of course, is the energy of meridian pathways and the energy that cells communicate. So if someone sits in between these two boxes, they receive the scalar energy as well as any modulated scalar energy. If we put a substance on one end of these boxes right here on the receiver end, you receive that scalar energy modulation, which could be essential oil and so on. And then also we can do imprinting with the transmitter box. So you have to have a PC and a generator X, and when they're hooked up, you create a scalar field. You can also run scalar scans. And we'll be talking about how to run a scalar scan, how to do a reverse lookup, and look for frequencies associated with anti-aging. And I got to tell you, when I looked up aging and all the research and all the different web pages, I was pretty surprised at how many different ways there were to look at aging in terms of cells, breakdown of cells from free radicals, breakdown of DNA from free radicals, breakdown of organs, organ systems such as the skin or the kidneys or the heart, arterial sclerosis, and so on. So let's get into it. There's a lot of amazing information to share for this presentation. So the first question I always ask when I get into this is, what are we looking at here? If we don't know what we're looking at, we don't know how to come up with the program to counter aging if we don't know what aging really is. Well, aging is a multi-dimensional process, okay, of physical, psychological, and social change. However, most people refer to aging in terms of years. So 65 years old, that's how old this woman is. And she's obviously obese and she's out of shape. Likely it's from a poor diet. She's probably on a number of prescription drugs, doesn't exercise, likely has mineral deficiencies, which contributes to her intake of sugar or simple carbohydrates, which contributes to all that extra weight that she has on. So she's 65 years old. Is she old? Yeah, I think so. She looks old, right? Contrary to that, we can go out to Okinawa Island, Japan. These women are over 100 years old and they look a lot healthier. They're dancing and they're thin and they're in shape and they're active. They have good healthy diets. They have minerals in their water, as we're going to find out in just a second. And they're just in good shape. This is known as the blue zone, where people really don't get sick. They don't have much in the way of arteriosclerosis. Let's have a look at that, closer look at that in a minute. Well, aging is also a pre-programmed genetic limit on cellular longevity. So this is a lifespan which is decreased by accumulated effects of environmental toxins, disease, and trauma, or increased healthy lifestyle with Spooky2 frequencies to help manage aging and reverse symptoms of aging. But a funny thing to look at is life expectancy. If we look at these 4 different countries, Norway, Singapore, Australia, and Switzerland, you'll see that although these are genetically dissimilar countries, I mean, these are very different people, especially Norway, Singapore. I mean, they're not genetically related, but their life expectancy is very similar. Why is that? It's because cells have an expected ability to divide and grow over time. And, that runs out typically at about 82 years. All right. So the life expectancy of females is generally greater because males typically suffer from arteriosclerosis to a greater extent, and they typically have a shorter life expectancy. All right. So that is one way to define aging. It could be years. where we look at people and say, 65, that one looks old, but maybe this other person's 80 and they look pretty young. If you look at Brad Pitt, I think he's like 57, 60 years old, but he looks like 35, doesn't he? Well, obviously he takes care of himself, right? He has access to pretty good, healthy lifestyle, but other people that are much older, much younger, look a whole lot older. So it's kind of confusing there. Getting back to the blue zones, in the United States, our life expectancy is 78 years. We have the most expensive healthcare on the planet, probably upwards of trillions of dollars in terms of medical research. We have likely the finest medical doctors in the entire world. We have more prescription drugs than any other country. Yet we have one of the lowest life expectancies of any other modern country. So why is that? You'll hear me say that a lot. Why is that? Well, look, let's go back to the blue zone. I just love the blue zone. It's fascinating information. Loma Linda, California, where they have healthy lifestyles, they have good diets, they have good minerals in their water. Remember, one of the ideas of chronic disease is all chronic disease is created by mineral deficiency. And this is from Dr. Joel Wallach, who conducted 80,000 autopsies on humans and animals that died unexpectedly. And of course, he looked at the tissues of these humans and these animals, and he said, well, they all have a type of mineral deficiency that led to their death. So this was a big turning point in alternative medicine, where people realized the importance of minerals. Well, if you go up the road from where I live to Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, you're 7 times more likely to reach the age of 100 than the United States. Sardinia, Italy, right? It's another island. You're 10 times more likely to reach 100. Icaria, Greece, 1 in 3 people live to be over the age of 90. That's 12 years older than the United States. Keep in mind, these places don't have advanced, quote unquote, medical technology. They don't have trillion-dollar budgets for medicine, and they don't have huge hospitals. They don't have billions and trillions of dollars in prescription drugs, but they live a lot longer than we do. Well, where I used to live in the United States, right? Okinawa, Japan, 85.3 years is the life expectancy. It's 7 years longer than the United States, but Okinawa, Japan doesn't have much in the way of advanced hospital care or prescription drugs or huge budgets for medical research, but they live longer and better and healthier lives than the people of the United States on average. It boggles the mind. It has to do with the minerals in the water. The higher silica content of the water, the bigger the blue zone effect. It's pretty fascinating information. So let's keep going. So what can Spooky2 do to prevent and reverse symptoms of aging? That's the next question I ask myself when I look at these differences in age, and how can we develop programs that are going to reverse the symptoms of aging and help people live healthier lives long into old age. Well, I've been working with the elderly for 40 years now. I worked long-term care when I was late teens, early 20s. Then I went on to study medicine, apply that medicine for detox and mineral deficiencies, and looking at heavy metals detox, and then using Spooky2 Rife technology to heal people from chronic disease here in Panama, where 80 to 85% of the people I work with are retirees. And I do a lot of work with them in all different kinds of ways. So if I went to a textbook and I said, what is aging? What are the age-related changes? You'll get a ton of different things. You'll get, well, there's changes in DNA. The DNA wears out, you might say, over time. Or you might say that the cells wear out. The cells have a certain length of time that they can divide and grow. You might say there's loss of muscle and bone mass. People lose their hearing, their vision, their sense of smell. There's decline in kidney, pulmonary, and immune function, multiple endocrine changes. People have hormonal changes as they get older, lower metabolic rates. It's a lot of information. And so how do you put together a Spooky2 program for anti-aging when there's all these different things going on for people and everybody's aging differently? Some people lose their hearing. Some people have problems with kidneys. Some people have problems with other metabolic disorders and so on. So sometimes there's osteoporosis and there's brittle bones. And so it's hard to put it all together into a simple formula that you could come up with that would be a good anti-aging program. However, we can talk about functional cells. As we age, there's a failure of replacement of cells in sufficient number to maintain full capacity, and replacement of functional tissue with fibrous tissue happens sometimes. What about breast fibroids, which I'll be talking in a little while? What about uterine fibroids in women? And we have programs that will dissolve fibroids in people. And fibroids are typically an indication of toxicity in the human body. And so often I recommend that you drink water first thing in the morning with apple cider vinegar and lemon, which has a tendency to detox the kidney and liver, the kidneys and liver, and helps dissolve fibroids over time and detox the human body. And there's a greater vulnerability to disease and less resistance to changes in the environment as we age. So that's all reasonable. So we can break it down to a cell, all those different things we looked at and talked about. It comes down to replacement of cells, so we can come up with the anti-aging program for Spooky2, functional medicine frequencies that will help us with replacing cells. Okay. What else? Well, anti-aging programs should promote production of healthy cells, maintain proper function and structure of skin. A lot of people come to me here in the clinic here in Panama, and they always say, well, what can you do for wrinkles? You know, it's almost like a joke, but really they would like to have healthier skin. And I'm sitting in the salon here where my wife works, and she works with skin all the time, and her skin is perfect. She doesn't have any wrinkles, and she knows how to maintain healthy skin and good cell turnover in skin. And so that's one of the things that she can do, is by using good nutrition and using some of the knowledge that she has. But also we can use frequencies to help maintain skin elasticity, promote cell turnover in the skin, okay, and also help with collagen. Collagen formation helps with skin and prevent wrinkles. So we're going to show you programs all about that in just a little bit. Okay, so also we have programs and frequencies to help us improve smell, sight, and hearing. As you know, the big the big C, right? Can't say it, get in big trouble. Not going to do it, right? So people lose their sense of smell, okay, when they become down with that virus. So how do we get our smell back? Well, we can improve the sense of smell over time for people that age with programs. Same thing for sight and hearing. I personally used this vision improvement programs, and they do work, right? And help to maintain mobility. Well, we can do that by promoting muscle mass and coordination, all right? What else? One of the big things that people often ask me is, can you help me improve my vision? In particular at night, older people don't want to drive at night because they have poor vision in the dark. So what happens is the pupils decrease in size as we age, and we become more sensitive to glare. So we can help with that night vision, absolutely, with programs we have using Spooky2 remote technology, also reducing inflammation of the optic nerve, detox, and have anti-inflammatory programs to prevent glaucoma. I do that regularly, prevent and treat optic nerve inflammation, which reduces vision, and increase antioxidants to prevent cataracts. Our very own fearless leader, John White, has developed an anti-aging program to run on remote, and it's pretty awesome stuff. I'm going to be discussing that in a minute. So we can dissolve cataracts with frequencies. I've done it before. I've been very successful doing it. It works very well using frequency medicine, Spooky2 programs, and technology. Also, here's another thing. When we talk about anti-aging, we're going to be talking about dealing with the function of gastric cells, promoting enzyme function, so we can properly digest food and avoid problems with constipation. So the elderly often have problems with constipation. So there are programs absolutely that we can use that help with constipation on a regular basis, 24 hours a day. So what else? All right, we talk about skin again here. The number of epidermal cells decreases by 10% per decade. So they divide more slowly, making the skin less able to repair itself. Epidermal cells become thinner, making the skin look noticeably thinner. Okay, so skin loses integrity, and there's less nutrient transfer and less collagen formation, lower cell turnover. So if we had an anti-aging program, okay, that can increase the number of epidermal cells being produced and at a faster rate, right, at a more regular rate, then likely we could have healthier, younger looking skin, maintaining better integrity and better nutrient transfer, but also collagen formation. We have great programs to help increase the production of collagen. Of course, collagen binds and makes the skin look better, and better elasticity of the skin too, right? Less wrinkles. How about this? Anti-aging in the heart, kidneys, and the arteries. Well, the kidneys and the heart are directly related. As the kidneys filter the blood pumped by the heart, they're able to remove toxins so that there's less arteriosclerosis. So if you have bad kidneys, chances are you're more likely to develop arteriosclerosis. Well, as it turns out, as you age, generally you lose elasticity of the arteries. So you can increase elasticity of the arteries by using frequency medicine, also by increasing silica in the diet. Remember, I talked about that when we talked about aluminum detox. This is probably like a year ago already. And silica in the diet from green beans and from silica water increases the elasticity of the skin, all connective tissue, and the arteries. So that's one reason why people of the blue zones don't get arteriosclerosis. There's silica in the diet and in the water. By the way, Fiji water has a good source of silica, and you can make silica water known as silicade by looking up a YouTube video made by, what's his name, Dr. Dennis Krause, who wrote a really good book on the blue zones and minerals in the water at the blue zone. Okay, what about the kidneys and the bladder? Further to this, and a fascinating fact here is that the size of the kidney decreases. It becomes 30% smaller at age 90. So older people basically have a problem with filtering blood. Their kidneys are smaller. However, how many people have heard of the antioxidant resveratrol? It's in what I think it's in red wine and grapes and some different fruits and vegetables. So it's also a supplement. Well, our fearless leader, John White, has developed a frequency and a program to run on remote, and includes resveratrol, which can help kidney function, very much so in the kidney cells. Okay, so there's also a decline in renal cell and elasticity of urethra and bladder. So this is one of the problems I have with some of my clients. They complain of problems with having to go to the bathroom all the time and bladder capacity reduced. Well, bladder capacity is reduced by 50% as you age, so they're more frequent urination is necessary. And it becomes, it becomes a real hassle to be constantly having to be near a bathroom. So, there has to be frequencies to expand the bladder capacity, and there is, and frequencies to promote a decrease of inflammation of the bladder and urethra, so people can urinate more regularly, empty the bladder more completely, and not have to visit the bathroom so much. I think that's a reasonable request for people to live a better quality of life, I think, for the elderly. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to get to the Spooky2 information very soon. We'll talk all about the programs and the equipment. So hang on there. We're almost through this discussion of what aging is, right? What about the glands? Well, the glands go through some atrophy or decrease in size with decreased secretion with age, resulting in hormonal changes. Menopause. How about that? Decreasing, decreasing hormone production in elderly, such as testosterone in males. So they also decrease the efficiency of glucose homeostasis, the ability to maintain proper glucose levels in the blood. Type 2 diabetes is much more prominent in the elderly. So reproductive function and calcium metabolism is also affected. But again, we have programs to treat these imbalances. So now we have a lot of information that we can summarize. We have the ability to replace and maintain functionality of cells. We have the ability to promote kidney metabolism or kidney function and increase kidney function. We're going to show you what those programs are and how to use them. We have also programs to reduce arteriosclerosis. We have programs to maintain mobility, and also to deal with hormone imbalance, increasing hormone production in the human body. What else? Women, loss of estrogen, progesterone, increasing of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. It causes hormonal imbalances. It's pretty common. Less testosterone, as I mentioned, decreasing muscle mass. How many men are pretty upset with losing muscle mass as you get older? And so if you can increase the testosterone with a frequency, you can increase muscle mass and likely increase basically the quality of life by increasing energy. And oftentimes there's a better outlook on life when you have more energy and more testosterone if you're a male, right? And both sexes go through a degeneration of reproductive tissue. Decreased elasticity, here we go again with silica and the cell turnover. So we're going to talk about frequencies to use to increase the elasticity of tissues, to increase cell regeneration. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're almost through all this information on aging. Gradual loss of bone mass. How many of my clients have come to me and say, look, I've had a hip replacement because I broke my hip? Many of them. Probably a third of all of the elderly people that I treat here in Panama have a hip replacement. Now, if you haven't solved your osteoporosis problem and your mineral deficiencies, you're likely going to break something else, brittle bone syndrome, osteoporosis. So what happens is when people have brittle bones and they fall, they easily break that hip bone when they fall in the hip. And what happens? Well, you got to rush in and get a hip replacement. Well, eventually you may have to get a shoulder replacement, or maybe an elbow, and maybe a knee. A lot of people have knee replacements due to osteoporosis and autoimmune disorders. Well, there are programs that can help harden bones and avoid osteoporosis. There's programs to help with the elasticity of lung tissue, all right, because breathing becomes more difficult in the elderly. There's programs to help water content of tendons and cartilage and increase the mineralization of cartilage and tendons, as well as promote better healthy vertebral discs, which often causes loss of mobility when you get vertebral disc problems. A lot of my friends have that. Also, percent water in the body decreases over time. So it's best to stay hydrated, right? Always saying that to everybody, make sure you're staying hydrated. And people do. They bring around their special water containers with their minerals in there, and people get into it. The more you learn, the healthier you're going to be, without a doubt, and the more you avoid problems with chronic disease. White blood cells. Older people get sick more often. There's atrophy of the thymus gland, where white blood cells mature, so they don't produce, older people don't produce white blood cells as efficiently as younger people, right? So lymphocytes decrease in number and effectiveness, and the number of bone marrow cells per volume decreases. So we've looked at a lot of aging, symptoms of aging, and what happens to the elderly, and all these different changes that happen and how we can combat them. We're going to start to get into that. How do we deal with all these changes? Well, the good news is we have frequencies and protocols and programs to deal with all of the problems that elderly have. Keep in mind that people have problems at different times. Not everyone's going to experience problems with sight and hearing and smell and kidneys and heart problems and mobility and osteoporosis all at the same time. So I'm going to show you how to identify problems before they happen. So we're going to take a look at the hunt and kill program and reverse lookup, which allows us to identify resonant frequencies in the body and to use programs to address those problems before they turn into chronic disease. So you're going to come up with resonant frequencies, which are going to tell you what programs to run long before you develop chronic disease. You're going to get a chance to fix whatever problem that you have. All right, so we'll talk about this thing called senescence. Senescence is pretty much just the ability, what happens to cells over time is they lose the ability to divide and grow. So they get old and they, basically senesce, as we like to say. They lose their function and they die basically over time. So accumulation of mutations from free radicals. We're going to specifically talk about what a free radical is. If you're studying alternative health, you know what a free radical is. If you had a class in biology or immunology, I've had so many classes over so many years. So we always talk about free radicals. Free radicals result in damage to DNA and damage to cells. And when the body loses the ability to repair itself due to being overburdened by free radicals, damage happens, and sometimes it can't be reversed over time. So we want to prevent DNA damage, and we can do that with an anti-aging program. So this is the last thing we're going to get into on the looking at anti-aging and aging in particular. It's known as the telomeric theory of disease. telomeres. Now, if you had high school biology, many of us had biology in undergrad. Do you remember that? We studied biology, zoologies, and botany in undergrad. I can't hardly remember that, so many years ago. And I've had so many more classes since. But anyway, you study this thing called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, which is the blueprint of the cells. It's the blueprint of the human body, right? And we can make proteins and structural proteins and enzymes and everything from this blueprint. Well, there are special ends to the DNA. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes in our cells, and they have little sections of DNA which code for different proteins. You should be familiar with that. And there's sections on the end known as a telomere. Well, every time a cell divides, I think red blood cells, live 3 months, and other cells live longer. So at the end of the 3 months, that cell is going to divide, hopefully before that, likely, right? The cell divides, and each cell gets a copy of the DNA, and it lives to be about 3 months. Well, each cell line only has so long to live, okay? And each time that the DNA is replicated, it shortens just a little bit with each cell division. You probably remember cell division in high school. You have a look at that, right? All the different phases of cell division. I won't go into that because it will go off in a tangent for sure, right? So over time, DNA is not replicated perfectly. And there's these telomeres, okay, get a little bit, become a little bit of a problem because each time they make the DNA shorter and shorter. That section at the end of the DNA is known as the telomere. Well, we have an enzyme known as telomerase that fills the gap by attaching bases. I won't go into the nucleotide bases to fill up the DNA, but it repairs the DNA over time. So everybody has to have telomerase in their cells to prevent the destruction of the DNA. We always have to discuss DNA when we're talking about free radicals, and we're talking about aging, and we're talking about human health, especially when we're talking about alternative health, because we get into these things of free radicals. We get into detox programs, we get into anti-inflammation, and we get into frequencies, which aid all these things that we're talking about. Okay, if we get into frequency and Rife technology. So with time, telomerase enzymes levels decrease, and the telomeres become shorter and shorter over time, making the DNA less functional unless we have enough of the enzyme, and we don't have that many free radicals to destroy the DNA. All right. So the telomeric theory of disease is that each time DNA divides, it becomes a little shorter and less functional unless we have enough telomerase, which is an enzyme to fix that end section of the DNA, telomeres. Okay. So also this, pay attention and bear in mind that shortened telomeres of cells are associated with chronic disease. So as the DNA gets shorter and shorter, we tend to develop more chronic disease. So it makes sense that you would want to be able to have good, strong, DNA that does not have sections that have been damaged by free radicals, and it doesn't have sections that have shorter and shorter telomeres. And we want to have a lot of good enzyme telomerase to repair our DNA over time. However, 90% of all cancer cells have been found to possess telomerase in excess amounts. So it keeps a cell growing faster and faster. So cancer cells also use excessive amounts of telomerase to make a cell grow faster and faster and stronger. So it's something to keep in mind. So there can be too much of a good thing, right? Okay, free radicals. We're coming down the path there. We'll get right into the Spooky2 software and the equipment and all the neat programs that we have to combat aging, anti-aging programs that really work. And I'll tell you the exact ones that I've used over time, which have helped people with aging, okay? Because remember, 85% of the people I work on are retirees, and they're always asking me, what can you do about my kidneys or my bladder? Or what can you do about wrinkles? Or what can you do about osteoporosis? I hear that a lot, all the time. So again, let's bring this idea home of what a free radical is. A free radical is a molecule with an unpaired, highly reactive electron. Now, I won't get into our general chemistry that we've all had in high school, very likely, right? I remember studying unpaired electrons with Mrs. Walsh way back when in the late 80s. She was a very neat teacher back in the day. One type of very reactive free radical is the oxygen free radical, which may be produced during metabolism or as a result of environmental pollution. So more free radicals are produced in the human body if we have more toxins or environmental pollution. However, the body makes free radicals naturally as we break down food. So it forms free radicals. Now, free radicals are a regular part of metabolism, but there's an increased free radicals when we have a lot of toxins, environmental toxins, or toxins in our food, like processed foods, or toxins in our air, like chemtrails. I can say chemtrail, can I, without getting my channel taken down, right? We live in quite a radical world these days, don't we, compared to back in the day. So look at this, basically this graph I have here, free radicals in your skin. Oxidative stress and inflammation, okay, with free radical formation causes destruction of cells. However, antioxidants or against oxidation, so free radicals cause oxidation or breakdown of cells. Antioxidants like vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, etc. Even selenium is considered an antioxidant, it's an element and a mineral in water that's important, right? It helps to protect cells from damage of free radicals created by toxins such as heavy metals, glyphosate, forever chemicals, microplastics, all these horrible things we have in our environment. We didn't have so much 230 years ago, right? Bummer. The good news is we have new technologies to combat all that inflammation and free radicals and free radical damage. Okay, so the free radical grabs an electron from any molecule or good tissue, and it does that because electrons like to exist in pairs. When it grabs an electron from another molecule, it damages the other molecule. So by having vitamin C that donates an electron or an antioxidant, then it protects your cells from being damaged or oxidized from a free radical. Okay. Now, if this does not make sense to you, review this video. It will make sense over time. Look at other seminars and other information on the internet, all about free radicals and avoiding free radical damage. So let's get on with a couple of papers. I've got to tell you about these couple of papers that I looked at from the research. I always go into the research journals, and anyone can on PubMed.com. So if we look at this article called Recent Advances in Anti-Aging Medicine from 2019, hormonal replacement has been widely used in elderly to improve their quality of life. So supplementing hormones, what are we talking about? Well, you're talking about progesterone and testosterone and da-da-da. So when we increase testosterone, for instance, testosterone in the human male, elderly males, they often have increase of muscle mass, increase of sexual function, and so on. So it's a very happening thing. There is some side effects. However, if you can have a frequency to increase testosterone, well, then obviously there's no side effects associated with their frequency. Also, prebiotics or probiotics, fecal microbiota transplantation is a new and upcoming field to help people digest food and maintain proper intestinal integrity. Vitamin D is this big buzzword in anti-aging. It's more like a hormone than a vitamin. So increased levels of vitamin D, specifically from getting the right amounts of sun, getting a bit of a tan. If you're like me and you have this horrible Scotch-Irish skin, it doesn't work too well with tanning, but I can get a quick tan in 10 minutes, right? So that helps. So vitamin D is a primary anti-aging medicine because it's anti-inflammatory. And right now, all of the research is absolutely abuzz with using it for elderly population as an anti-aging variable to reduce symptoms of aging, right? Intermittent fasting, I talked about that last month when we talked about obesity, avoiding obesity. Intermittent fasting, normally with other variables, we use reduced calorie intake. Physical exercise, I talked about, 30 minutes every day. Intake of antioxidants, resveratrol. There, that comes up again. How many times does that come up? A couple of times, as helping kidney function and preserving renal cells of kidneys to continue to work. Curcumin, how many times have you heard that? I've got a ton of this stuff growing outside in my yard. It grows like a weed, right? And we take that component from that herb and we basically have curcumin, and that's there's a huge amount of research going on, considerable promise for improving function in aging. And this is from another article in 2018. Large-scale clinical trials are underway right now, looking at curcumin and resveratrol. So two antioxidants, typical antioxidants, very promising for anti-aging. How many people take the old curcumin pills? The turmeric is what we grow in the backyard here in Panama. It grows like a weed. We pull out huge mounds of it, and you can dry it out when you have the time and make a curcumin powder. You can drink it. It takes a bit of intestinal fortitude to put down a glass of turmeric, but hey, the curcumin you can buy in a pill and you can take it. It's very promising as an antioxidant. Anti-aging, resveratrol, same thing. However, you can avoid all this by using a frequency. Remember, all matter in the universe has a frequency, which is exactly the same. Matter is energy and frequency. So if we had a frequency, we can avoid using the matter. We'll look at that in a minute. So again, calorie restriction. This is from another article in 2018. Hypoglycemic agents, super important, antioxidants, superior effect on lifespan extension. Remember in the beginning, the first slide to show this woman who's 65 years of age. I don't mean to pick on her, but she's a typical 65-year-old who has a bad diet, no minerals in the diet. She doesn't exercise, and her diet's loaded up with sugar. So she doesn't get enough antioxidants with the processed foods. And she looks really old for 65, as opposed to somebody who's 100 who doesn't have any big health care, lives out on an island in the middle of nowhere, and they're doing great. They're super healthy. It's called the blue zone, right? I talked about that. So let's get on with this. So a more pragmatic and realistic definition of anti-aging is preventive approach to reduce late life pathology. What does that mean? In other words, prevent people from dying of typical arteriosclerosis, cancer, Alzheimer's. Those are the top 3 killers of the elderly. 2 out of 3 people over the age of 80 is going to die of Alzheimer's. What causes Alzheimer's? Toxicity from heavy metals, glyphosate, right? Inflammation of the nerve cells in certain parts of the brain, right? So how do we do that? We detox, and we use Spooky2 detox programs to help us detox from heavy metals and so on, like the TRAIN protocol, which, by the way, should only be used if you're healthy. If you have cancer or if you're fighting a serious chronic disease, you don't use the TRAIN protocol. You don't start out with that because it'll make you sick, because you have the toxicity to begin with, which has made you have these chronic disease problems. So if you don't treat the chronic disease first, like cancer, get rid of the cancer cells, you're going to have a problem when you go for toxicity. So if you go for toxicity first, it's going to make you sick, and then you can't treat the cancer. And the best time to begin treating cancer, yesterday, because of the fast growth rate of some of these new turbo cancers that are coming online for, yes, you guessed it, because of the big V. Should I say it? I probably should get in big trouble, right? Get my channel ticking down. They took my channel down. Okay, there are immune-mediated mechanisms of regeneration and repair that can be modulated by pulse electromagnetic fields. So John White, our fearless leader, has developed a new PEMF pad, which expands to the total length of the body. I think he calls it Pro Magic, Mira Magic Pro PEMF pad, something like that. He comes up with fancy names for it. I have a PEMF pad. I use it every night to reduce pain and to help with sleep. Okay, so but it also improves the ability of tissue to regenerate. This is from an article in 2019, use of pulsed electromagnetic field to modulate inflammation, improve tissue regeneration. What do we talk about throughout this entire presentation? We talk about regeneration of tissues, which are really important as an anti-aging protocol. A method of reducing age or the symptoms of aging is a frequency or a method to increase tissue regeneration, to increase cell turnover in the human body, right? Which is going to help us maintain healthy cells, younger looking skin, better functional kidneys, and so on. So here you go, right out of a peer-reviewed scientific journal paper stating that pulsed electromagnetic fields are good for tissue regeneration. So we're using our PEMF mat, our Miramate pad that you use from Spooky2, which is you find from Spooky2-mall.com, which I'll be talking about in a minute. Use that PEMF pad every night. It can help to regenerate tissues as well as reduce pain inflammation and help you sleep better too, right? How about this? I took this slide, I stole it from John White. I'm sure he doesn't care about that, but it's a wonderful slide. So I quote this: NASA conducted a study to find out if it was possible to stimulate the regrowth of neural tissue with electromagnetic fields. Now, what did we just talk about a second ago? 2 out of 3 people over the age of 80 are going to die of Alzheimer's in the next 20 years. So we're talking about the regrowth of neural tissue with electromagnetic fields, like the PEMF pad by Spooky2. How fantastic is that? Being able to regrow neural tissue and being able to cure Alzheimer's. Well, they discovered that PEMF could regrow by astonishing 250 to 400% growth of neural tissue. Wow, isn't that something? That's fascinating research. So the PEMF pad can not only reduce pain and inflammation, help you sleep, but it can also help you with the regrowth of tissue. There's 2 different research papers that discuss that. How about that? Isn't that interesting? So we should reduce toxicity in the human body, lower inflammation, keep cells healthy and functioning while improving organ system function to prevent disease. So says Dr. Bill McGraw. And how hard is that? It's not that hard. Let's have a look. What can Spooky2 do to reverse symptoms? Now we're going to talk about using the scalar scan and field, the scalar field, to treat chronic disease and promote anti-aging protocols by helping people to have healthy organs, return a regeneration of tissues and cells. And we can use the Spooky2 remote, where we put our fingernail inside this box, expose it to frequencies 24 hours a day, and affects all the rest of the DNA, no matter where you are in the universe. Now, when I first began studying quantum fields and quantum entanglement 15, 20 years ago, I thought it was all just absolute crazy business until I began using quantum science every day, and I accepted it sort of like God. And so people who are very religious and believe in God, most of them haven't seen God, but they believe in a divine creator. Well, the quantum field is like that. And I described this to one very, very religious person. And we discussed God one time. And I said, you know what, I want to tell you something. I think God is the quantum field. And he looked at me, and I expected him to jump all over me and say, what? Well, you can't use that. You can't say the science. All he said to me was, amen. We got along after that pretty well, I can tell you. How about this big, there it is, Spooky2 Big Magic. And now there's a Big Magic Pro PEMF mat. Okay, this is an amazing device to treat chronic conditions, regenerate tissue. So it's a mat you put underneath basically your mattress pad or your mattress cover. All right, so right on top of your mattress, put your sheets over it. You can't even tell it's there because it's super soft and spongy. And it lasts a super long time because it's made of good quality material. I've already been using mine for like 3 or 4 months. It's super awesome. You run it, while you're sleeping 12 hours, very low power. It's got 2 different power levels, and it rotates the frequencies to solve problems with nerve damage, joint problems, and so on. So this is a way of tissue regeneration, and an anti-aging protocol is do it while you sleep. You won't even know it's there, but it's going to be working all the time to help you reduce your symptoms of aging. Okay, so let's talk about the scalar. This is what everybody's been waiting for, I know. People always say that, where is it? Get on to it. But I always have to describe what we're looking for before we can get on to a way of combating these things that we have to deal with. So when we hook up our 2 Spooky2 scalar boxes, we put one on one side and one on the other of the person who sits in the center. We hook up our generator X to our Spooky2 transmitter. It's pretty easy. It takes all of about 5 minutes to set up, no more than that. And then we hook up our generator X to our laptop computer. The generator X has an adapter you plug in, and you fire it up, and you're able to run scans with this setup. And you can find this at spooky2mall.com. I think it's about $2,200. I've been using mine every day for 2 years. It's exceptional quality. I haven't had any problems with it. And it works very well, very, very well, as far as the scanning and the treatment and promoting anti-aging. The scalar field in and of itself is an anti-aging field. Now, how is that? Because scalar energy is the energy that cells communicate, also the energy of meridian pathways. So the body absorbs scalar energy to promote anti-inflammation, also to promote the flow of energy throughout the body. And healthy cells with a lot of energy are young cells, are anti-cancer cells, are cells that resist chronic disease and resist aging. So now we're getting more into the more exciting information that everybody's been waiting for, and that is that the scalar field is an anti-aging protocol. Scalar energy is the energy of healthy cells and the energy of healthy cell pathways, energy pathways. Okay, so awesome stuff. Okay, let's keep going. Scalar Connect, like I just talked about, you connect it and tune it. It's very simple. You just turn a knob and the light goes on. And once you do that, you have scalar energy. You just sit in between these two boxes. You can read a book. You can use your cell phone, although I tell people not to use their cell phone during the scan. Afterwards, you can use your cell phone. You can do what else? Watch a movie, right? If they put the TV in front of the two boxes, you could do that. You can sleep. Yeah, this is another device. You set it on the either side of the bed, sleep in your scalar field. Many of my cancer clients that I consult to on a regular basis and teach them how to kill cancer cells with these different Spooky2 devices, they sleep in the scalar field because they find it so relaxing and so healthy, and it promotes anti-aging. How about that? How easy? You couldn't get any easier than sleeping in the scalar field. And of course, the scalar devices accept any frequency from the Spooky2 database, all right, which means your anti-aging frequencies, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay, this is a hedgehog. I treated a hedgehog for hookworm and cyclostoma, I think it is, using the scalar field. And lo and behold, the next day, this little hedgehog was on its feet, and we were able to kill all of the hookworms. Okay, so that, how about that for a strange story, but true, right? So anything inside the scalar field, which is shaped like a football, more or less, is going to be treated by the scalar energy. And there's three types of scalar energy we're going to talk about in a minute. So anything that sits in between these two boxes, typically 1 meter on either side of box, you tune it, you create a scalar field, you sit in the scalar field, you receive the benefits of the scalar energy. The human body absorbs scalar energy up to the point where it's had enough, and then it will no longer absorb the energy. But there could be other frequencies you put inside the scalar field, modulated scalar fields and modulated scalar energy, as well as modulated Rife frequencies. So we're going to be able to put Rife frequencies inside the scalar field. So let's find out how to do that. So let's start off with pure scalar. We talked about that. We can just set up our two boxes, one on one side, one on the other. Now, in between the two boxes is a scalar field, which is an anti-aging energy medicine you can even sleep in 24 hours a day. My clients talk about it all the time, how it makes them feel great, gives them energy. It's a healing modality, and they sleep a whole lot better in the scalar field. So pure scalar energy flows between these boxes, and anybody who's sitting or sleeping in between the scalar boxes receives the pure scalar energy. Molecular scalar, this is imprinting. You might have seen a lot of interesting seminars that a lot of my peers are doing these days, and that's dealing with imprinting. So imprinting is transferring energy of frequencies into things like water. Water holds of energy and frequencies. A whole lot years ago, there was books coming out by researchers talking about that. So if you put a glass of water in the transmitter coil, you can transfer energy of the frequency into the water and then drink the water. You're receiving the healing benefits of the water. Also on the other side of the receiving coil, essential oils such as peppermint oil or even frankincense to treat cancer. When you're doing a cancer treatment through the scalar field, you put frankincense, that energy frequency of the frankincense oil is transferred into the scalar field, and the person in the scalar field receives the benefit of frankincense without having to use the frankincense oil. I always love to smell that oil. It smells awesome. And the third way is when we run our scalar scans. We use modulated Rife frequencies, combining the discoveries of Royal Rife with Nikola Tesla. Everybody knows who Tesla is, right? There's a car company by Elon Musk, right? Everybody knows who Elon Musk is. He owns Twitter, right? $48 billion Twitter. Wow. Well, he makes a car company called Tesla. Everybody knows who Tesla is. How many people know who Royal Ram and Rife is? Probably 90% of the people in the world don't know who he is, but it's going to catch on in a big way. I know, because I'm going to help promote it too, and so can you. So the scalar scan modulates the original Rife frequencies and turns the Spooky2 scalar into the world's most advanced Rife machine. No other Rife machine combines scalar energy with modulated Rife frequencies, and then we can use this, a scalar scan. And it is my number one go-to scan, is the scalar scan. So let's find out how to do that. So I use Spooky2 scalar scan to determine resonant frequencies. What's a resonant frequency? If I have this glass here where I'm drinking water and I hit a high C note, which I think is like, I can't remember, like 432 or 532 hertz, one of them. High C note, and it vibrates the glass and the glass shatters. That's a resonant frequency. No other frequency will do anything to the glass. Same thing for the human body. Is I'm running frequencies of, let's say, 41,000 or 1.8 million hertz, or let's say 500 to 50,000 hertz, as in the scalar field. Any of the frequencies that are passing through the human body resonate, as in the glass, it begins to vibrate. The computer records that resonant frequencies and reapplies them as a treatment process, killing things like bad bacteria, viruses, and parasites and cancer cells. That's the easiest and best thing I do for my clients every day, is to kill bad bacteria, viruses, and parasites, and identify more complex inflammatory conditions like symptoms of aging, problems with kidney or skin, or problems with eyesight or hearing or sense of smell. These are the results of aging processes, inflammation, losing the ability to perform certain tasks such as Alzheimer's, where we can help with detox, we can help regrow neural cells by using these different modalities of PEMF coils, scalar fields. They're healing and they're anti-aging. Neat. Huh? So Spooky2 scalar scans reveal problems with chronic disease before they become a real problem. I can tell you this from personal experience, treating people for cancer for the past 3 years, every day, almost every day, every week for sure, is that it's easy to treat someone with first stage cancer. If you're treating with someone with late stage cancer who's elderly, beyond 85 years old, it's very difficult because they have lots of pain and inflammation to begin with. So treat people with early stages of cancer. It's an easy gig, easy to kill those cancer cells, and people recover quickly and they don't even have any detox symptoms. So find the cancer early on by conducting scans, kill the cancer, and then you don't ever have to worry about it. Go for your detox, don't have the toxicity, inflammation, you don't really have cancer. Cancer is a disease of inflammation and toxicity. Okay, that's right. Okay, so we can help with using Spooky2 scalar scans to determine resonant frequencies associated with certain programs relating to aging, toxins, detox, free radicals, vision, hearing, kidney, heart, lung. Sound familiar? Stuff we just talked about for quite a while. So I'm going to be opening up the Spooky2 program in just a minute, and then I'm going to look at your chat comments and questions, and then you can ask more comments and questions and so on. And so then we'll get on with it. So what happens is when you run a scan, 20 frequencies show up that are resonant frequencies that the computer program uses as part of the treatment process. Remember, these are used at 3 minutes per frequency as part of the treatment, which is sort of like shattering the glass. You're going to be killing bad bacteria, parasites, viruses, treating inflammatory conditions, and promoting frequencies for anti-aging, helping kidney function, helping reduce inflammation of arteries, helping with improving vision, and so on. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Reverse lookup. When the Spooky2 treatment begins, you can then use the reverse lookup to determine what programs are associated with what resonant frequencies. These programs can then be used for remote treatments. Okay, so this is the reverse lookup section. You put in 0.1% tolerance, you press go, and you're going to determine what programs are associated with what resonant frequencies to figure out a working diagnosis and to determine what programs you can use, which would be most beneficial for things like your Spooky2 remote treating for 24 hours a day, which I'm going to discuss here in a minute. Now, when you do your reverse lookup, you discover anti-aging frequencies that show up. So for instance, this frequency 721620, which is part of the treatment process, is associated with this detox liver, kidneys, lymph, intestine, lung. Well, this is an anti-aging frequency associated with this program. You can then use on remote because it's a resonant frequency for your body, according to the scalar scan that we use to determine the resonance of this frequency. And then we can use the program, which then can be applied through our Generator X remote technology. So frequencies available: eye, night blindness, eye optic nerve disorders can be used in the remote technology 24 hours a day by using a fingernail. Okay. Skin cancers can be found and treated long before they develop into a tumor. When you're treating basal cells, I've done 18 skin cancers in the past 2 years. When you're treating basal cells that are cancerous, they basically just dissolve and you peel a little bit of skin off your face or wherever the basal cell cancer is, and that's it. You kill the basal cell cancer cell before it begins to turn into a squamous and becomes a tumor, or God forbid, a melanoma, which has a potential to metastasize in the body. And I'm dealing with that with my cancer patients right now, and some of my people that I consult to on a regular basis. We regularly go through these cancer frequencies. We find a reverse lookup and talk about how to apply the cancer frequencies, which are most beneficial for people, to then kill the cancer cells. So when they go up for their MRI, they're free of cancer tumors. And then of course, you have to save the narratives and save your spreadsheets and save the so you can prove it to other people, because people have a hard time believing that happens, but I do it every day. And every week I consult to people all over the world where they're killing cancer cells and cancer tumors and avoiding problems with cancer altogether. So here's also cancer programs and frequencies associated with arterial sclerosis. So let's get into the remote technology. Each program in the remote, that's the little box where you put your fingernail, needs to be repeated many times to achieve good therapeutic effect. We recommend that customers run the remote 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's kind of like the scalar field if you're sleeping in it. It's running continually all the time in the background, treating all the DNA in your body, okay, while you don't even realize it, no matter where you are. So I'm here with somebody's fingernail and they go on vacation in Argentina. I'm treating them for inflammation and pain while they're in Argentina because I have their fingernail, which I'm treating through quantum entanglement. Here's an example of quantum entanglement for those who doubt the validity of quantum science. Okay, so let's say 200,000 people in the United States have already received a kidney transplant. So they're walking around with someone else's kidney. Why? Because kidneys become toxic over time. 80% of all heavy metals is stored in the kidney. Over time, the kidney stops functioning because it becomes inflamed, cells break down. We discussed that already. All right. What happens when somebody gets a kidney from someone else? Oftentimes they pick up the characteristics of the person who gave them the kidney. Like what? I hear things like, well, I never liked French fries or horror movies, but after I got my kidney from so-and-so, I really love French fries and I like horror movies. So this person could go back to the surgeon who did the transfer, go back to their primary care physician and say, look, I've got a problem. I think I'm losing my marbles here. Since I got this kidney, I've suddenly picked up a whole new personality. And they say, don't worry. What's happened is quantum entanglement. You've received energy information with the DNA that you received through the transplant, and you've accepted that energy and memory of the DNA, and it's been transferred to your DNA. So DNA is a very special molecule that transfers energy and memory. So when we use a fingernail and I treat the fingernail at frequency, kind of the same thing. I treat the fingernail, I'm treating all the rest of the DNA, because DNA has energy and has a connection beyond space and time. All right, so we're going to get into Star Trek type lingo, but quantum science is the science of possibilities. Now I'll sit with that for time before you go off the wall here and say, that can't be. Give it time. Think about it. The world is full of new ideas. learn them and use them for your benefit. So these programs have to be repeated at least one time every hour. So you have a list of frequencies that you can use that should not be over a total of 1 hour total, because you're going to repeat them continually throughout the day and throughout the night. Okay, that makes sense. In just a minute, I'll talk about that. Okay, if all the people have no serious health conditions, their DNA can go into one remote and the program run on the generator. Ensure each DNA sample is in its own tape, and the Spooky2 generator remote can be closed. So you just put the initials or the name and the date on the tape, and that contains the DNA, and it goes into the Spooky2 remote box there. And boxes can hold up to 50 DNA samples. So you can treat a lot of people at once if you can, all for the same thing. They could all go on the same anti-aging program if you can, okay? But depends on each person's condition. All right, let's get into further. I talked about this quantum entanglement. Some people cannot get their heads around it. Sometimes this gets in the way of really taking advantage of new technologies and new science that's valid. It's been proven many times over. So here's your generator XM, okay? And you're connecting a booster and then a box, and you're putting your fingernail inside the box. The frequency generator is going to produce a frequency and expose the frequency to the nails. It's basically treating the nail, and then it affects any and all DNA of the person, no matter where they are, of the same DNA. So here this person is vacationing in Yellowstone or someplace that looks like that, and they're receiving the health benefits of treating the DNA of the fingernail while I'm in Panama. While I'm treating the person's DNA, they're off in vacationing, but they're receiving the anti-aging effects no matter where they are. They'll tell me that isn't user-friendly. So remote technology is so easy to use in this program. I'm actually going to open up the program in a few minutes and show you how easy it is to use. You choose a program like anti-aging, you go into Control tab, overwrite, and hit start. It's that easy. It's literally 30 seconds. I can program this computer to basically transfer frequencies into my body. Beneficial frequencies such as anti-aging. So here it comes. Anti-aging program was created by John White, and it's an amazing program. I'll tell you why. It can be run 24 hours a day using remote technology, treating the fingernail. Then all these anti-aging frequencies are transferred into your body 24 hours a day. The XM generator isn't expensive. It's about $180. It lasts longer, at least 6 years. I've been using mine for 6 years. And transferring the anti-aging frequencies have a positive benefit. I know, because on some people, it affects them so much, these antioxidants, that sometimes they can get a little bit of heart palpitation or maybe a little bit insomnia, just like regular antioxidants. If you take too many antioxidants, oftentimes you may have a problem with insomnia, or you may have problems with a little bit of heart palpitation. When you cease taking the antioxidants, the heart palpitation goes away, and so on. Now take a look at these frequencies that John White has developed, which he uses for his anti-aging program. So anti-aging R means remote, and JW means John White. Spermidine, nicotinamide mononucleotides, that's the one. Resveratrol, glutathione. So the spermidine, I'm going to get into it in a minute as we talk about these individual components. But each one of these components has a frequency which can represent it, which can have the same effect as the actual compound. Think about that. All right, let's go. Spermidine is for DNA repair. Remember, talk about free radicals damage the DNA. Free radicals damage the DNA and cause aging. But spermidine, the nucleotides and dinucleotides, repair the DNA. So if you can have a frequency emulating these compounds, it can actually have an anti-aging effect and keep your DNA healthy. How about that? Resveratrol, how many times did I mention that? It prevents age-related renal injury. Okay, resveratrol, it's in wine. You want to know why the French people are so healthy? They drink the red wine every day. Could be one of the reasons. Resveratrol, it's an antioxidant. It's really good for age-related renal injury. So we have a frequency to that, so you don't have to drink wine all the time or eat grapes all the time. You can get that antioxidant effect by using a number, of frequency through the DNA or through the scalar field, right? Or even through the pads, directly through your TENS pads. Glutathione is the body's antioxidant and chelator. Okay. So people who take liposomal glutathione chelate heavy metals, right? Well, now you can have a frequency which helps the body produce glutathione, which is the antioxidant and the chelator of heavy metals. Lipoic acid, antioxidant. How many people remember Dr. Andrew Cutler, who was a big proponent of alpha lipoic acid, which chelated heavy metals? It passed the blood-brain barrier attached to heavy metals like mercury and pulled it out of the brain into the blood. But if you didn't keep taking it, it redistributed and causes all kinds of problems with short-term memory loss and even insomnia and even aches and pains. Mercury is pretty mean stuff. However, if we have it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's a wonderful chelator. It helps with the production of energy, and it's a natural antioxidant the body produces. About that. So we're talking all natural compounds. Acetylcysteine. They stopped selling it on Amazon. I don't know if you can still get it, but it's such a joke. It's a precursor to glutathione. So it's antioxidant. Okay, you find it in certain amino acids. It's amino acid. And it's a precursor to the production of glutathione, the body's master antioxidant. Now, how about this policosanol? Or sorry, policosanol, as I could try to pronounce all these crazy words at this time of night. So this is a compound I heard about from a fellow researcher back in the day. This has been a year ago. They take this compound from, believe it or not, sugarcane, raw sugarcane. So I live in Panama, and back in the day, my wife is telling me the benefits of drinking this sugarcane water that they crush the sugarcane. We drink it. And I said, well, geez, isn't that loaded? It's just sugar water. Isn't it bad for you? It's going to, I already have a problem, with too many carbs in my diet. Remember, low carb diet is beneficial for not only anti-aging, but, keeping weight off. As we get older, we tend to put on weight, right? But this policosanol reverses metabolic syndrome. What is metabolic syndrome? Is weight gain, problem with fats, fatty livers, problem with high blood pressure. That's what they call the metabolic syndrome. So this is a compound. If we have a frequency, it reverses the metabolic syndrome. All right, how about that? It's pretty amazing stuff. So taken together, these frequencies in this program are an excellent anti-aging program because it's protecting the DNA, it's preventing renal injury, it's chelating heavy metals. Remember, heavy metals cause aging. Heavy metals cause free radical damage. Okay, and there's antioxidants, chelators. Remember, antioxidants protect against oxidation or protect against free radical damage. And the acetylcysteine promotes glutathione, the policosanol. It prevents metabolic syndrome, so you don't have to drink a bunch of sugar water. How about that? Pretty neat stuff. Now, fibroids. A quick comment on fibroids. Many of my clients come to me with fibroids. Uterine fibroids are painful. Breast fibroids are painful. Okay, and people worry about, oh my God, a breast cancer. No, it's not. Chances are it's not cancerous. You can use 2 pads or use the scalar field, one on one side, one on the other of the fibroid, scan it or the potential cancer tumor, God forbid, to look at the resonant frequencies to determine a working diagnosis, which we're going to get to in a minute. Okay, working diagnosis by using reverse lookup and to see what frequencies are associated with what programs. So if you came up with the fibroid program and you're running one pad on one side of the fibroid and one pad on the other, and you're running a hunt and kill or reverse, and you're using reverse lookup, if the fibroid program comes up repeatedly while doing the scan and part of the treatment, chances are it's actually a fibroid and not a cancer tumor. It should make sense to people who are familiar with the Spooky2 program. So if we look at anti-aging programs, we could say fibroids are anti-aging programs. Okay, reducing and eliminating fibroids. Remember, talk about fibrous tissue, replacing good tissue, and that's part of the aging process. What else? People come to me all the time and say, well, can you help me with my wrinkles? Well, you know what? There's anti-wrinkle programs, anti-aging programs, and there's a wrinkle treatment program you can run 24 hours a day on the Spooky2 remote, okay, using quantum entanglement. What else? And there's also collagen promoting programs, collagen building, and so on, which you can use 24 hours a day on remote or run it through the scalar field when you have it set up on one side of the bed and then the other. Okay. So reducing hair loss. How many people come to me and say, you know what? I wish I could regrow my hair. Do you got anything that can do that? And I say, yeah, we do. So as people get older, they have problems with hair loss. So there's many, many, many programs that you could put into the Spooky2 remote, putting a fingernail in there and treating your hair loss 24 hours a day. And yes, they do work. I've worked with them over time, and they've reduced hair loss and they can help promote hair. There's one program called hair regrowth, which I'm using now, which is really good for helping people regrow hair. And remember, every type of problem has a group of frequencies which can affect it. All matter, you must change the thinking of the mind. All matters of frequency. Keep saying that to yourself. All matters of frequency. All potential aging is really a group of frequencies, which is anti-aging. Okay, think about like that. So improving kidney function. I've done this how many times for people? All kinds of kidney problems, improving kidney function, kidney insufficiency program I use all the time to help people with edema. You know, when you have people have edema, they have swelling, they have problems with kidney. As people get older, they have problems with edema and loss of kidney function. The kidney gets 30% smaller over time. So we can help the functioning and we can help with the efficiency of kidneys basically by using frequencies on remote. Okay, same thing with improving testosterone. How many males want to increase testosterone level over time? Of course, a lot of them do. So to promote muscle mass, to increase sexual output and sexual desire, you can use the testosterone program. So, and they work over time. Same thing with females, you can increase estrogen, decrease estrogen, or increase progesterone and so on. So these can be run 24 hours a day using remote technology. Now you understand why I picked Scalar scans and treatment to recognize problems of aging before they become a problem. And you have to use an anti-aging. If we can recognize a problem before it becomes a problem by using remote technology and reverse lookup, we can apply frequencies through remote to prevent aging. So the anti-aging is really a prevention program, not only a treatment, but a prevention program to keep us from getting old, if you will, right? Help us with functioning kidneys, preventing wrinkles, increased mobility, if you have problems with osteoporosis and so on. This vision acuity program used on remote, I've used it many, many times to help people increase their vision output, right? All the time. A lot of time it's just a matter of decreasing the inflammation of the artery nerve. Sorry, the optic nerve. Increasing inflammation of the optic nerve increases the vision. Increases vision acuity. Cataracts, I've dissolved cataracts in people and helped them dissolve cataracts. The cataract, I think we've discussed that before. It's actually a vitamin C deficiency can be thought of because cataracts are one of the biggest areas where you have vitamin C. The other is the adrenal gland. So when vitamin C wears out in the lens of the eye, you develop inflammation and it becomes cloudy. However, we can dissolve cataracts by using Spooky2 remote technology or even pads, or even the plasma. I've done that before, okay, with certain people that are my clients. Skin rejuvenation. How many clients come to me and say, well, you know, I want to look younger. I want to get rid of these wrinkles. Of course, everybody would. So skin rejuvenation, skin collagen building programs, super beneficial, run on remote. So also you can load programs into Gen X and use the Gen X by itself and take it on the road with you. It's just this little box about this big. It produces frequencies and you can just attach 10 pads, strap them to your body and run the programs just through the generator without a computer. Now you can't do a scan where you can apply all these different anti-aging programs through the generator X. Just take it with you. It'll fit in your purse or fit in your carry-on, or you just, you know, throw it in a bag or throw it in a knapsack and take it with you wherever you go. All it needs is a little bit of power. Now, how about this? You just click the empty spaces when you click that load programs. That load program is right here, load GX right here. It's in the Spooky2 program. And then you just click on the loaded program in the control tab and the program appears here. And then you save it and it's saved to the Gen X external function of loading programs. And then you can use the Gen X no matter where you are, no matter where you go. Okay. So also you can use a DC to AC generator, plug it into the cigarette lighter of your car, and then plug your Gen X into the cigarette lighter and use it on the road. I do it all the time. Okay, so you can use your TENS pads, attach them to your body in some area, and then use your Gen X to produce the programs for anti-aging, detox or whatever, or kidney function or whatever, and run it while you're driving. If you have a long trip, 6 hours, that's 6 hours of treatment. 2 channels, it's like running them for 12 hours of treatment. Okay, what else? So software training courses, hardware training courses, websites, 5,000 collected questions and answers, reviews website where people can search for program suggestions. So don't forget all of the internet websites that are available, which can help you learn more about the Spooky2 program. Also, contact me for consultations at drbillmcgraw@gmail.com. You can see reviews for my consultation at drbillmcgraw.com. So all podcasts, video channels, books, courses, and seminars are found on my website. I think there's probably 20 reviews of clients that I treat and consult to regularly. They've been kind enough to give me a review, and I've posted it on the website. People get an idea of what I can do for them and what my services can offer you and how I can bring you forward very quickly in curing disease, even anti-aging. Remember, I treat elderly people regularly. Most of all my people are retirees here in Panama. And I have 40 years experience on and off in treating the elderly. I worked in long-term care, including treating Alzheimer's patients 40 years ago. So I got to see up close and personal what Alzheimer's does to patients. And it's pretty hardcore experience. Okay, so let's get going. Let's continue. These are my books you find on my website, Aluminum Detox. It's all about silica. Right? There's a lot of information on the blue zone. There's my book on mercury, 400 pages, 500 sources, which tells you the whole story of mercury, the environment. Whales. Whales are dying in epic proportions right now. They're beaching themselves in hundreds and hundreds at a time. Nobody's talking about it, but the curve kind of went like this over time. And over the past 5 years, it's gone like that. And that's one of the reasons is due to increase in heavy metals in the ocean is higher than ever. Okay, it could be due to other things as well. I also have some EPUBs on graphene oxide, forever chemicals, glyphosate, and reversing Alzheimer's by looking at the different programs you can use, detox and so on. Okay, so those can be found on my website, drbillmcgraw.com. What about the next seminar before I open up the program and then I start answering questions about the chat? My next seminar in June, next month already, oh boy, it's going to be here in a hurry, is pain and inflammation. The hardest thing I've ever done with Spooky2 software is to treat pain and inflammation in acute and chronic pain, especially when I'm treating cancer. It's very hard to do. Okay, that's it. So that's it. We made it, right? We went through how to set up scalar scans and treatments, how to interpret the Spooky2 reverse lookup, frequencies associated with programs. We learned how to what programs are available to put into your Spooky2 XM generators to run on remote. We learned about what remote quantum entanglement technology really is. Okay, Denise, sorry, it's been a long day. I've been working for a long time now. Okay, so thank you so much, Denise, for saying that. So let's see what else. Thank you. It's a window that pops up, but it goes down there. Yep, that's right, Holly. It's that reverse lookup is a window that pops up, right? Thank you, Sandra McLaughlin, for your comment. Thank you very much for saying that. Let's see what else. Okay, so there's John White. So that's actually Zara, who is helping us out on our seminar. She's very wonderful person. I just met her a few weeks ago. So she's helping us out on our seminars. So she's going to be giving you, she's going to be answering all these chat questions that you have. And she's really excellent, very knowledgeable. So I'm very thankful that she's here because there's so much going on here. So thank you, Christine and Kurt and Carolyn, for your comments. Okay, so Holly, thank you. Okay, so cool. I'm going to open up the Spooky2 program for a minute, and I'm going to show everybody all about it. Osvaldo Perez, thank you very much for your comment. Okay, so the operation, Joan, I'm going to open up the program and show everything all about it, right? It's confusing, but so was jumping in your car for the first time and driving it was confusing. It was for me, right? I recommend all the cataract programs to run on remote, okay? So the Scalar BFB settings to improve scan results, we'll get into that. Yes, Holly, you can run the prescription drug on remote for breast cancer. Okay, the replay is going to be available for everybody. Okay, you can run it continuously on Gen X Pro. That's right. You bet you can. Create your own program 24/7. That's right, JD. What else? All right, nanosoma is all about polycosanol. That's right, Nathan. One of my friends, Deanna, is always talking about nanosoma all the time. It's a big thing now. It's a lot of research. It's a big buzzword, right? Anti-aging programs run 24 hours a day. You bet, Marie. Absolutely. You can run them 24 hours a day. If you ever have a problem with the anti-aging program, the antioxidant, if it promotes insomnia or a little bit of heart palpitation, then run it less or just discontinue. Okay. All replays are posted to YouTube and also BitChute. I post all to BitChute. My YouTube channel was taken down because I violated community guidelines by saying words like bad words like virus and vaccine. So they didn't like that. So they took down my channel. I had 750 subscribers. Okay, pacemakers can be used. Okay, I'm sorry. You can use Scalar Energy. Natalie Snyder, you can use Scalar scans and treatments with the pacemaker. I do it all the time, but not with the pads and not with plasma. So I'm going to show you in a minute, Janet, the reverse lookup function. Okay. You're going to get a look at, you can look on my website, drbillmcgraw.com, to find the replay for this video. Okay, thank you very much, Zara, for all these responses. Okay, so just look at my website, everybody. You'll find, I'll post it as soon as I get it. It'll probably be in a couple of days. Right, you need the digitizer for the BFB on the Scalar. Okay, thank you, Deborah, for your comment. Okay, so Kanika, I hope I pronounced your name right, or Kanika. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing everybody next month. Okay, thank you, Georgia. Yes, I know Georgia. She's a person I talk to regularly. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, so everyone, for all your comments. Okay, so I don't know about an NAD cell regenerator. That doesn't sound familiar. You can use more muscle mass programs, Karen. You can find them in the program. Okay, I'm going to get onto it. Okay, that's it. I'm going to say a couple more. Let's have a look at a couple of more comments, and then we're going to. Okay, vitamin C is very good for cancer. Look at Linus Pauling, Terry. That's really good. Yeah, contact mode is stronger than remote mode, Dahlia, but you can't use it 24 hours a day. You can't have TENS pads stuck to you 24 hours a day, right? Just maybe for a couple hours. Imprint frequency is generally done, I don't know, like 10 minutes, I think is what I do. Jay. Thank you very much, Dave, for your comment. Thank you all so much, very much for your comments. I really appreciate it. Okay, cancer, or the healing programs are run on remote. Cancer killing is through the plasma, not on for remote. Cancer killing is run on plasma. Yes, and pain inflammation is the hardest to solve. Imprinting is done on it can be done on with the holographic stickers. I didn't have a chance to get into that. I'm going to get into that next month because it's only so much I can talk about. Okay. Vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C, Terry. Liposomal vitamin C. Anti-aging, you can run with the plasma, Tom, but it's best to run on 24 hours a day. Okay, first stage prostate cancer, you want to run plasma, Bob Freer. Run it on plasma and put the plasma device directly on the prostate within 3 to 6 inches, and you'll kill all the prostate cancer frequencies. I've done it several times. Okay. Yeah, you can run the cataract programs to dissolve cataracts, no problem. Okay, so yeah, you have to create a program after the Scalar. You use a different, not hunt and kill, use a different one, then you bring it up for the remote. Okay. Thank you, Deborah, and so on. David Holliday's experiment. I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, let me just get quickly with the rest of these comments, and then we're going to open up the program. Okay, there you go. Thank you. I'm not sure I know how to pronounce that name. Mio Drag. Boy. Okay, so holographic stickers on Amazon, a whole tape roll, 500 stickers for $10. What a bargain, right? How long on contact, Dahlia? You can run 2 hours, 3 hours in contact. Okay. So thank you, Jay. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to get going. So what we're going to do now is open up the program and share it. We're going to share the program so people can see the Spooky2 program. Okay, here it is. Ding, 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 ding. Bing. Where are you? Can everybody see that so far? Everyone see the Spooky2 program? There's still, let's try it again. I didn't see it come up. All right, let me see something here. Let's try this one more time. See, we're going to share the Spooky2 program. There it is. Okay, so Q&A. Where I'm in near Boquete, Panama. Marnie, is that Marnie Andrews? Okay, let's see. You can use the plasma wand, but people can't have a plasma wand attached to them. It's better to use remote technology for anti-aging. Michelle, okay. Scalar devices can be used overnight with the anti-aging program. Yeah, PEMF wand will work, but it's only one frequency that goes through the central. So you'll need to use the PEMF pad for the anti-aging frequencies. Okay. Water is saturated with oil frequency. I like think like 10 minutes, but there's other people that are way more knowledgeable about imprinting than me. They have wonderful seminars. Check out the seminars of some of these other people that do this besides me. They're awesome. They're really knowledgeable about imprinting. There's frequencies for all kinds of antioxidants and prescription drugs. Okay, so right, don't sit in the scalar field with anyone who has a serious disease. Type anti-aging into the program, Lamona, and you'll find it. Specific problems, you can use a scan. Eyelash regrowth. I don't know about that one, Jacqueline. That's a tough one. Look it up in the program. Okay, so let's see what else. Scalar modulation, glass of water. I would say just the hour is good enough for the treatment phase on the transmitter. The plasma, Bob, I answered that before. Kill cancer before you do detox. Don't engage the train protocol. Make you sick, and then you'll have to wait to treat the cancer. The best time to treat cancer is yesterday. I have a lot of experience treating cancer over the past 4 or 5 years. Okay. Gel empty preset. So that's one. So let's start off with that. I don't know about that scalar flickering, Robin. Contact customer support. Yet I don't know about acne, Eva. I've never heard that one before. Okay, nerves, Natalie. You can use myelin sheath repair to repair nerves. Okay. Okay, let's go. I'll show you. This is how easy it is to do this, right? I can get my mouse to work. Okay, shell empty preset. Go into remote. Okay, then go into healing. You don't kill things on remote. You use it to heal 24 hours a day. The body ages 24 hours a day. An anti-aging program is also 24 hours a day. Remote. So I hit that healing. JW means John White. R means remote. Go into the program. And then I want you to put in whatever program you're looking for. Let's say, I'm getting up there in years, 53 years old. So let's say I want to improve testosterone. So I put testosterone in the program and it comes up with testosterone male normalized level. Okay. Also, you'll find these MW. What is an MW? An MW is a molecular weight, a compound that has a frequency that you can use to emulate the effect of the compound. So this MW testosterone will emulate testosterone in the human body and increase testosterone levels by running 24 hours a day. So once you pick your programs, you go right to control, override generator into the channel where you have your XM generator. Remember, XM generators through a printer cable hooks up into the laptop. The laptop identifies it with the number. So all you got to do is overwrite and then hit start. And then it runs. If you want to run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or forever, you go into the bottom part of this, repeat sequence. And what you're going to do is in the sequence, you can just hit a 0 to run forever and ever. And then go to control, override tab into the channel where you have your generator XM, and then just hit start. And it'll keep repeating after 6 minutes and increase testosterone in the human body. That's it. You could literally do it in a matter of a minute. So you can hook everything up into the computer once you get your XM through the mail, and you can be up and running in about 5 minutes with everything that I've told you. And I know I'm not kidding. I do it every day of my life. I hook up and take apart generators and hook them up in 2 minutes at people's houses. I show people how to use it. It's super darn easy. Okay. So that's how you run a shell empty preset. What about this John White frequency you heard about, right? All right, a fearless leader. So we go into, just go into a preset if you want to see if there's a preset. So what is a preset? A preset is the calculation and the programming of all the frequency waves, the amplitude, the duty cycle, how long the frequency runs. It's all done for you. So that's why I love presets. I put aging in there. I press the bar and there's the JW. There they are. Go to the right and you see all these different programs for each individual program. There's a frequency associated with that antioxidant that you can get the benefit for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's an anti-aging program that can help you stay young and prevent problems with free radical damage when you have a good antioxidant. Vitamin C does that same sort of thing, right? So that's how you run. Now let's say we want to run a scalar scan. How fast does it take to do that? Biofeedback, scalar digitizer, hunt and kill, slave, settings. I can put in my number here, which I think is what, 3. I think 3 is my first channel. So my G1 channel is 3. Control, override it's 7 and 8. So let's start over again. If you look in through the window of the Generator X Pro, you'll find out what the numbers are. So let's do that all over again. So we go back to the beginning and find out how long it takes. Biofeedback, sample digitizer, hunt and kill, slave, go into settings, put in 7 because that's your channel of your G1, control, override into 8, then presets, scalar digitizer, hunt and kill, master, control, override 7, and hit scan. Now, how long did that take? It took less than 20 seconds, all right? Now, I went too fast for you to see, right? But you're going to be able to repeat this video as many times you want. The whole thing's written out in the manuals that you'll get in the mail when you buy your scalar machine. So no problem. So that's how you set up a scale. Now people want to know where's this part with the reverse lookup is in this section. When these frequencies appear, all you got to do is put 0.1 in the percent tolerance and hit go. And then a separate window appears with all relevant programs associated with your resident frequencies. Look, I can consult more on that if you want to. Send me an email. We can consult now. We can go over hunt and kills as I do with people all over the world regularly and teach them very professionally how to diagnose using reverse lookup. Now, the people at Spooky2 will tell you we can't use that. You can't use the reverse lookup for diagnosis. It's only because they have to tell you by law. They have to tell you, well, if a cancer frequency shows up, it doesn't mean you have cancer. Well, it's an indicator, and I can teach you how to diagnose through correlations of indicators. All right, so let's just leave it at that, right? What else? You're basically just going to have to use the preset. You may have to go into programs, and put in whatever program you're looking for. One woman said something about eyelashes. See if they have any for eyelash. Okay, let's see. Here, let me see that. Okay, chronic inflammation of eyelid and eyelash follicles is known as blepharitis. Okay, I've never treated anybody for that, but there it is. There's your answer to chronic inflammation of eyelids. Sorry, eyelash follicles. You use that for your XM generator. So how easy would it be once you plug in your XM and you put your fingernail into the machine? How fast can it be? Well, I go to shell empty preset. I go into remote. I go into healing modality. I go into program. I hit the blepharitis, and then I go to control, override into the channel that contains the XM and hit start. It's an hour and 39 minutes with the programs to run it 24 hours a day. I go into sequence and I hit whatever. You can even put 999, and then click on this window. Once you click on the window, you see how long the program's going to last. 100, whatever it is, 164,000, whatever minutes. So it's going to run forever. Override, go in there. The time is now expanded and you hit start and it runs. So it literally takes seconds to program the XM generator. Okay. So that's how all that works. It's super easy. There's tons of seminar tutorials, how to set this equipment up and how to run it. If you need more information on how to use the advanced settings, how to interpret reverse lookups, if you need information in regards to how to detox from heavy metals, how to avoid Alzheimer's, how to treat Alzheimer's, how to treat chronic disease, and how to read a reverse lookup report so that you can come up with a diagnosis using these programs associated with frequencies. Okay, and Spooky2 will tell you, well, you can't really do that, but they have to tell you that by law because it's a long story. Unless you're a professional like me that's been using this stuff for 6 years, it's very difficult for you to figure it out on your own. Okay, let's see. We've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. So I'll go back to my chats. Okay, so you perform a scalar biofeedback basically by sitting in a lounge chair. That's what my clients do. They sit like a lazy boy and they lean back and I put it in the scalar field. Okay. Okay, so let's see, save button. Okay, so Joan, okay, so the icon, yeah, that is for like there's an icon in the upper right of the screen of the window that appears for things like the high frequency biofeedback scan. You have to save the program, save it to Joan, and then it'll save it with the date, and then look it up in the program. Okay, so let me give you an example of that, Joan. All right, let's give you an example of that. So let's go back to screen share here, wherever the heck it is. Right, we still have 200 people that are looking for, still have 200 people online here. So this is where it is. So let's go ahead and hopefully everybody can see that. Everybody can see the Spooky2. Yes, it's sometimes hard to share, so let's try it again. Okay, so when you're looking to save a program, look, all you got to do is click that icon, the disk icon, and then put in the name of the program, name the program to Joan, and then click save. Then you go into programs and you'll find the programs. They're all here. Dr. Bill. Okay. There's all my Dr. Bill programs that I saved from the biofeedback scan. There's one from 1243, the 7th of May. Everybody see that? So how do I load that program? Well, it's so easy that it's madness for me to keep going over it. So shell empty preset, whatever. Let's say you want to run it on contact, or let's run it on remote. Then go into healing. Okay. M is manual mallow, and then program, and then just click in your program. Okay. That's the one that I picked that I saved as a biofeedback scan. Then you go into control, overwrite, and just click on the channel that has the generator XM and then hit start. It's a 3-hour program now. Okay. If you want to go into programs and hit the sequence, you can change it to 0 and it'll run forever. Or you want to run it all week or whatever. So that's how that's done. All right. So let's see what else you have. Marie, any cataract programs, it's going to be okay. Toggle advanced mode, Clark. Yeah, that's right. That's how you get to the advanced mode. I'll show you that in a second. Cataract programs, Marie, I've run them all. I run them all. Okay, so Julie, the eyelash program's blepharitis is inflammation of the MW frequency of latici. Okay, so that drug. Okay, so that's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, so yeah, birthy. Okay. Oh, so what that is if the frequency does not have a program associated with it, it means it's just not as important as some of the other programs. So it's a lesser resonant frequency. So yeah, you just press the little disc icon to save the biofeedback scan when you're running a high frequency biofeedback scan. Tremors are treated by using Parkinson program and essential tremor programs MZ. Okay, yeah, double click the program to load it. Okay, absolutely. Yes, you can treat macular degeneration with just the remote, Larry. I've done it. Okay. No, you run MZ, you run the biofeedback frequencies on the treatment, and then you run reverse lookup to look at what programs are associated with the frequency. So that's about it. Yeah, the save icon looks like a floppy disk, Sandra. Okay, Edith, I don't know about mouth implants. I don't know about that one. Okay, so Virginia O'Shea. Okay, I just loaded anti-aging, clicks on start. There's no numbers loaded. Okay, so let's go through the anti-aging program again. Seen any side effects with the MWs? I would say BFB reverse frequencies. I would run it for until you run another BFB, right? Natalie? Okay. So yeah, let's go through again. It's just so easy to use this program, right? So let me escape out of here and we'll new share. Okay. So we go to preset. Okay. I hope you're paying attention, right? Hope you can see it. Let me make sure everyone can see it again. Sometimes it takes a while. Okay. So it's easy. You just press these arrows, go back to the beginning, and then you're going to go to shell empty or you can just put in here aging. Look at the preset, right? Put in aging and press the search button. Load, double click the anti-aging. Okay. Then it appears in the preset chain. Go right to control, overwrite into the channel. Okay, so let me try that again from the beginning because these things, the channels have to be stopped. There can't be things running there on them. So go to preset, anti-aging, double click, go into control, overwrite, and go into the channel that has your XM generator and hit start. Okay. So then it loads the waveforms and begins the start, right? So if it's on there it is, right? There you go. So there it is. Now, if there's another one running, let's see, you can stop that, go back to this and then hit pause or whatever. And so if it's not running, here's something to do. If this preset doesn't work and there's no numbers, I see what you're saying, that can happen. Okay, what I do is just get any preset and load the programs. I'll show you how to do that right now. So what you do is you go back, shell empty preset, go into remote, healing modality always, right? Go into the programs and then just load these programs like the spermidine or whatever. There it is, right? So load these programs by hand. In other words, double click that one and then you put the next one in, which is a mononucleotide or whatever the heck. Okay. So whatever it is, so the MSN or whatever. No, it's not MSN. I can't remember. So you just load those and, look up the programs and load them in. And when you're done, just click control override into the program there, whatever you have, and then run start. And this time it will load the frequency. Okay, there's the frequency. Now it's running it on remote. Okay. Instead of using that preset, just use that whole program. The list of programs on a shell empty preset. Okay. Okay, hernia is best treated on remote, Dave. The brain cancer is a sarcoma. I don't know what that is. Repeat chain just means it repeats those frequencies. I just use the sequence to repeat everything. So I showed you that, Virginia. I showed you how to do that. Now you know shell empty preset, and then just click on the programs and just set up your own programs. Okay, Gerald Arbor. It's interesting that you can't answer my question. So Gerald, go ahead and give me your question again. Rebuilding gum tissue is often mineral deficiency caused by heavy metals, but also look for infection. Run a scan to find out if it's an infection, Alicia. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. Gerard, you want to ask your question? How do you delete past custom program? I don't know what that means, Whitney. Treat the brain. Yeah, I would treat brain sarcoma with plasma. Yes, I would. But the Spooky2 people would say don't use it on the head. But I have to. If I have somebody who's suffering from cancer tumor on the head or the face, I put the plasma within 6 inches and I treat it and I kill it. I've done it many, many times. All right. Okay, what else? Is there anything else here? So that is the questions. What about, is there anything else with the chats? Natalie, more than one frequency can be added and run simultaneously. Each programs can be contain multiple frequencies and you can stack them and run them over and over again, but they generally ask that remotes are repeated once every hour at least. Okay, Sharon, you need to chronic fatigue syndrome, work with the remote. Vitiglio, run it on remote. Okay, MZ, intention tremor, run it on remote. I don't know about regrowing teeth, Albana. I've heard things, but I don't know. Okay, if there's nothing shows up in the reverse lookup for a particular frequency, increase the percent tolerance. Okay, what else? Okay, so Holly, I'm answering you now, Holly. So listen up. So if you're being prescribed 2 hormones for breast cancer, you run a healing modality for a prescription drug for an MW program. Okay. I place the plasma tube directly on the body. I improve scalar BFB H. I don't know. I just use hunt and kill because I like it. I like the hunt and kills because it goes right from the scan right into the frequencies. So I don't have to name a program. And quite frankly, look, I run hunt and kills on people, almost, every week or almost every day if I can, because the body changes. And as you treat the body, the scan changes. Okay. Yeah, you can treat thyroids, Brenda, no problem. Thank you, Holly. No, you can relieve the remote program. It doesn't matter, Fred. I don't shut off my remotes before running scalar BFBs. Pardon me. Hypothyroidism you can treat on remote. Yeah, I only use healing. I only use hunt and kill. Birth. Is that the name? Okay. Okay, so Alicia, Can I scan just using basic Spooky2 device in contact mode? Yeah, of course. Generator X with the TENS pads, you can run regular hunt and kill, and also high frequency scan. So Vitiglio, you have to look it up. Harriman. Okay, there's Zara. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Okay, you're welcome, Michael. Natalie, frequencies that contain 10,000 or 40,000, they always show up in programs. So I think they're frequencies to run continually. Thank you, Maria. Okay, Verna. Yes, you can run, husband and wife can run the scalars together in the same field because they share the same bio field. Yeah, you need a PEMF mat if you're going to run anti-aging. Well, you can also Sharon, you can run anti-aging through the scalar field as well. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate you too. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for the input. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and hanging to the end of the program. I know I'm long-winded by all these, the different slides, and I talk about everything and everywhere going on. I hope everyone shows up next month. We're going to be talking about pain and inflammation. It's going to be a dynamite program. Okay, so thank you, Verna. Thank you, Alicia, Sue-Ann. JD, love long-winded. That's funny. Okay. Yep. PEMF is safe. Yes, you can treat viticulous skin. So Harriman, let's go. I'm going to answer this before you get going, right? Before you say I didn't answer your thing. Well, he answered everybody but me, right? Okay. Okay. So let's go back. So here we go. I'm going to show exactly. Harriman, you better be with me now because I'm going to do this. So you go on. I would run it on XM generator, remote. So shell empty preset, remote healing, then go into programs in Vitiglio. How do you spell it? Geez, I'm bad at spelling. Isn't that terrible? There it is right there. So you load up the programs, all of the programs. Okay. There's a total of 2 hours and 9 minutes. Then you click on remove duplicate frequency, control, override into the generator that you have your XM hooked up into, and hit start. And there you go. That's how you treat Vitiglio. Okay, Harriman? So now you know. I've answered your question. All right. Praise the Lord. Our souls are saved. Okay, that's it. Shell empty preset, Sharon, is basically you use that to load up programs. That's why we use shell empty preset. So Zara is telling everybody, see you next week. There's someone else presenting next week. I will see you in a month. We'll see everybody in a month. Okay, thank you all, everyone. Okay, Bob, I'll look for that email. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much. Everyone's been so very supportive and really into the seminars and learning. So I'm very happy. It just makes it worth my while for sure. Okay. Okay, we're going to get going. Generally, we like to limit to 2 hours, We like to limit to 2 hours. Okay, Ronald, I don't know what plaque means. Scalar BFBs take 8 minutes. Yeah, peripheral neuropathy, look it up on remote under programs. Okay. Okay, I think that's it, everybody. Thank you so much. There's still 160 people. Russ, thank you for saying, the full 2 hours. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone who's attended. We will see you all next month. For sure, I'll be here for a seminar on pain and inflammation. It's going to be one heck of a ride. So make sure you register and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Good night. Wherever you are. Take care. Bye-bye.